Hello guys, welcome to another Danso's online lectures. Basically today we're going to look at the differences between the gram-negative bacteria and the gram-positive bacteria. In our previous lectures we have discussed what it means by saying gram-positive or gram-negative bacteria. Okay, just a recap. We said gram-positive bacteria are those bacteria that shows purple color against the gram stain. Whereas the gram-negative bacteria are those bacteria that shows red against the gram staining. Now, basically today we are going to look at the cell wall differences, the peptidoglycan layer, as we call the cell wall of bacteria. We're going to look at the differences between the cell wall of gram-negative and the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria, respectively. Now, to start with it, the cell wall, as we know, it is the structure, the outer membrane of bacteria that gives them the integrity and the strength to these organisms. When we look at the cell wall structure of these two types of bacteria, we see a lot of differences. Now, to begin with the gram-positive bacteria, if you look at the peptidoglycan layer, that is the outer membrane of the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria, there is a specific substance that we call the teichoic acid, and this is unique to only the gram-positive bacteria. You cannot find this in any gram-negative bacteria. This is one of the main differences between the two. Whereas in the gram-negative bacteria, on their cell wall, they have LPS, which stands for lipopolysaccharide. Instead of having these teichoic acids, the gram-negative bacteria, they have lipopolysaccharide on their cell wall. After that, let's look at the nature of their cell wall. Is it multi-layered? Is it single layer? When we look at it, just to reflect your mind back to gram staining, in gram staining, we say it was easy for the gram-positive bacteria, for the first stain, which was the crystal violet, to enter in their cell wall. That explains how easy and simple their cell wall structure was. Whereas in the gram-negative bacteria, it was not easy for that stain to enter in their cell wall due to the arrangements or the nature of their cell wall. This explains that the gram-positive bacteria, they have a very simple cell wall structure. However, it is very thick but very simple. So as a result of that, during the gram staining, it was easy for the crystal violet to enter inside this cell wall structure. But when we look at the gram-negative bacteria, they have a very thin but lots of cell wall layers, that is the multi-layered cell wall structure. And as a result of that, this thing retains only the counter stain, which was safranin. So the gram-positive, they have a thick single cell wall layer, whereas the gram-negative, they have multi-layer cell wall structure. So that explains how they retain different substances during gram staining. The third difference is how do they react to the substances during the gram staining. That will give us a basic idea to differentiate between these two bacterial types. We saw in gram staining that for the gram-positive bacteria, after they reacted with those differential staining techniques, procedures, we normally see pink color formation. When they react with those chemicals, after the gram staining, all the gram-positive bacteria will turn to pink color. And immediately you see that pink color, of course, we say this is gram-positive bacteria. So gram-positive shows pink coloration with the gram stain. Whereas the gram-negative bacteria, they shows what we called violet formation or red formation. They show red coloration against the gram staining. So this is another basic difference between these two. However, with all these differences, yet still they all have cell wall. But there's something unique about these two bacterial types. They both have a bonding pattern that we call the beta-1,4 glycosidic bond. This bonding pattern is common to both bacterial types. Now let's look at the nature of their cell wall structures. basically, as we discussed, the gram-positive bacteria will have a very thick single layer cell wall structure, and this explains that here. You can see this is a single layer cell wall structure, but very thick. So this inside one will be the cytoplasmic membrane, and the outer one will be the peptidoglycan layer. So when you look at the gram-negative bacteria, we see almost 2 or 3, 4 layers of cell wall structures. We can include both the cell membrane, that is the cytoplasmic membrane. You have the peptidoglycan layer here. We also have a liquid inside or between these cell wall structures here that we call the periplasmic fluid, because the periplasm is the space between the two cell wall structures of bacteria. So within that periplasm, there are substances that we call the periplasmic fluid. Okay, so you see the basic differences in terms of their structure here. However, when we go back to the gram-negative bacteria, because they have different cell wall layers, so within the cell wall layers, or one of the cell wall layers, as we say, it is the LPS, that is the lipopolysaccharide. Now, in this lipopolysaccharide, gram-negative bacteria normally have a substance in this layer, and that substance is what we call endotoxin. Okay, that we call endotoxin. Okay, so this endotoxin is very, very toxic to organisms. So basically, this is the main differences between gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. Hey, gram-negative, gram-positive, they are even easy to remember. Okay, gram-positive will show pink coloration, PP. Okay, PP, gram-positive, pink coloration. So gram-negative bacteria, you might get a little bit distinct, but hey, just understand it. Okay, put your mind here, positive and purple coloration. Thank you for listening to the video. I hope it is just going to be perfect for you. As usual, any doubts or comments you have, just send it as a comment under the video. I shall get back to you. Enjoy the video.